Hello and welcome everyone to this 29th episode of the Backwards Gay Baseball Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Asbrock, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Scott Kaiser. Scott, my man, how you doing, buddy?
The 29th episode. Woo! All right. I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. Just happy to know the number every time you come in.
It's a quick and easy fix. I just, switch it out each and every week when in the rundown, That way we definitely don't forget. But it's more stunning the fact that we've made it 29 episodes. So
this is true. 29 is a pretty big number for having only for doing it sporadically. 29
for two morons doing baseball talk. Yeah, this is great. Good Lord, man.
How you doing, man?
I'm not too bad. I'm a little tired today, like we were just talking, but yeah, I'll fight through it.
Yeah, well, the show must go on, my friend. Yeah. We're not here to take naps. We're here to talk.
No, we are not. We are not.
What do we want to lead things off with this week? Well,
yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah, story of our lives. Hey, what the hell? Oh man.
I was going to say, let's go ahead and get into things because we have a special thing tonight, and I'll let you talk about that a little more since you're the one that arranged it and allowed us to have the opportunity to do what we did yesterday. So I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah, we Scott and I were lucky enough to interview Carter Shouse. He's the according to Perfect Game, he is the second-ranked player in the 2028 high school class. He's actually out of Bishop Fenwick High School in Middletown. Really good kid. It was a really good chat that we had with him. So we can't thank him enough for joining us. But it was cool, being able to talk to one of the top players in the country and kind of, delve into, his routine and everything like that. And just his experiences so far, which as a 15-year-old kid, man, he's got a lot. But yeah, so we'll have that interview coming up at the end of the show. So make sure you guys stay tuned. But it was good stuff. What were your thoughts on, Scott?
Yeah, no, it was cool to be able to talk to somebody about half our age, almost half our age, and just get his world perspective and his thoughts on baseball, like on a serious note. Like he was a cool kid, and he was really laid back, and it was fun to talk to him. Getting that inside perspective from somebody his age. It's like obviously you and I coach our kids, and they're a few years younger than Carter is, so and fat chance that they'll have the opportunity to be ranked number 2 by any publication, let alone Perfect Game.
Suck, man.
No doubt. So cool to see what it's like from a high-ranking player like that, just to hear what he goes through and what it's like and the experiences that he deals with, and the fact that he's a two-way player is cool because now it's not as if everybody gets the chance, but it's not as immediately shut down. So it's something that he did say that he'd like to pursue, and wishing him all the best. So it was a fun time talking with Carter.
Yeah, it definitely won't be the last time he'll be on. He was, just talking to him, man. He was pumped. He enjoyed it, and so yeah, we can't thank him enough. But again, like we said, that'll be coming up at the end of the show. We are going to talk about a couple things.
Scott pointing out that my math is awful and that he's 15. He's closer to a third than a half. Yeah, well, I'm not a math major. That's why this is a baseball podcast. Yeah. After I said it, I realized I was like, oh crap, 15. Like I'm way past 30 now. So he's way more than half. But I'll leave it to Scotty to call me out on my math. So
yeah, it's it's tough. It's a tough way to go, man. I'm telling you. But we are going to talk about some things that happen in baseball. The MLB. Well, no. Which one do you want to get into first, Scott? Do you want to talk about the kid that found the Skeens card? Do you want to do that?
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about that. Since that's a little light, and since we're talking about the kids anyway, let's stick with the kids. No way. That was a creepy transition, but
yeah, Jesus, yeah. Then you lead it off, then Scott. That's
nope. You're on an island there, man. You're on camera. Go ahead and talk about it.
Damn it! See, this is why it's not good to not be the producer. I don't have the controls here. It sucks, man. But we had. The news that came out before was the Paul Skeens debut 1-of-1 card that the Pittsburgh Pirates, I believe we talked about it a couple shows back though, what the Pirates were offering and everything like that in terms of, you get a meet and greet with Paul Skeens, you get what was like 30 years of tickets directly behind home plate. You get a suite with Livy Dunn.
Yeah, they were gonna have it out. Have instructional day with like old time players. Like it was more money than the Pirates have ever spent on a free agent. Let's just put it that way. They're willing to spend more money on this package to get you to entice someone out there to find this Topps rookie card with the debut patch in it. And an 11-year-old kid did find it. He said his brain pooped when he found the card. I don't know what that means, but it made me chuckle. It's the idea that an 11-year-old's brain could poop. Like I feel like when I was 11, my brain just was constantly pooping. Hell, I mean my brain poops now. So
I was going to say,
starting this show with my my math skills, my brain poops. But the kid said no. He turned down the offer. He's not looking to give the Pirates the card, and he's going to sell it at an auction. Good for him. He said that when they kind of announced this package, that unbelievable package that the Pirates are putting up there. I mean, like seriously, I'm curious to know the dollar amount behind the whole package, but would be worth quite a bit out on the open market, and there's somebody out there who's willing to pay an exorbitant amount, just like the Pirates are, and you can get it just straight cash. So it'd be interesting to see how much this card ends up going for at the auction. See how jealous I have to be of this kid, because I'm already kind of pissed that it wasn't me that found it. So there's
no kidding. No kidding. Well, the kid was from LA, wasn't he? Or I knew he was from California.
Yeah, I was just gonna say California.
It's pointless. I mean, yeah, why would you take up that
take the offer for the Pirates and you live across the country from them. It was a very geographically incentivized prize, because if you don't live anywhere close to Pittsburgh, I guess that wouldn't be that special of an offer. I mean, unless you just happen to be a really big Paul Skeens fan.
I am.
so question, just based on our current situation being in Cincinnati, which is drivable to Pittsburgh, if you had found the card, would you have taken the Pirates up on their offer, or would you have gone to auction with it?
I would have probably taken up part of that package. I'd have taken a couple of jerseys or whatever, a couple signed things, and I mean, just because I thought, I think it'd be really cool to meet him and everything like that. But I mean, auction would be pretty legit there too.
I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna go my whole life probably never meeting Paul Skeens, and if I got a boatload of money to not do that and continue to not do that, I would take the boatload of money.
It's probably better, yeah.
So I'm guessing that this 11-year-old got pretty sage advice from his father, at least, to go on ahead and take that to auction, because I'm guessing, like I said, that he will make quite a bit more than he would have. I don't know. Maybe once you total up everything, because 30 years worth of tickets is a lot of tickets. But hell, Pirates might not even exist in 30 years the way they operate. So.
Well, true. That's a great point.
It gets sold. It had to have some type of contract that says that if the ownership changes hands or the team relocates, that the package is still good. Yeah. Or when Skeens inevitably signs with another franchise, they don't pull the rug out from underneath you.
I was going to say, because they're already pissing them off because they haven't talked extension yet. So there's that. It's just, good Lord. Yeah. Good old Pirates.
Yeah. Well, at least that's been. I can. My retirement plans can go back to doing it the old-fashioned way instead of trying to pull a card like I'd been trying to do.
Yeah. At least I know where I'm headed. From the get-go.
Right back to the grind with me.
Yeah. Exactly. Waking up each freaking day, ready for hell. That's how we roll, man. Not just pulling a card. But speaking of Paul Skeens. It was announced last week that, they were going to the cover for MLB The Show, and they freaking nailed it. It came out first that Ellie De La Cruz was on it, but then they actually showed the cover itself, and it was donned with Paul Skeens, Ellie De La Cruz, and Gunnar Henderson. And what a better way to showcase three of the top young players in this league than have them on the cover of MLB The Show. So, I mean, I absolutely love it. I think it's really cool. It's definitely a game that I really love playing anyway, and I was going to buy it. And now I'm definitely going to buy it with, you know, three of the best players on the cover anyway. But, you know, overall, you know, again, great job by MLB. And just when we think that they struggle to, you know, showcase their young talent, they kind of take a step forward by having some of those guys on the cover of one of the top selling video games out there. So I got to give them credit for that, but hopefully, you know, they continue to take that step forward and showcase more of this young talent throughout the league, which we talk about, you know, seemingly each and every episode. But, you know, Scott, when we were talking about this, we were both pretty pumped at, you know, what they did with it.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, and this is just going off my own memory of baseball games in my lifetime, I don't believe that we've ever seen a cover that has 3 players on it. I know that there was the dual cover back with Randy Johnson and the MVP cover. I think it was Randy Johnson and Miguel Tejada. Back in like 03, 04, somewhere around there, that was the first dual athlete cover that I could remember. But this is the first triathlete cover, and yeah, they nailed it. You got Skeens, Ellie, and who was the third one? Gunnar Henderson. That's right.
Yeah.
And yeah, those are 3 of the brightest stars, young stars in the game coming up right now, and I couldn't think of a better way to display three stars. I'm wondering though who I should give the credit to though. Is this MLB?
I don't know.
Or is this Sony deciding that they were going to do this? Because I'm assuming that Sony makes the actual call on who's going to be on the cover and everything. So I don't know if MLB is savvy enough. Still, I don't give them enough. I
try to give them credit. They'll screw it up. Yeah,
yeah. I did say like it was probably Sony that pulled this off. But either way, Major League Baseball will benefit from this. And you know, you got kids playing the game and seeing the cover, and the cover isn't a huge deal in the grand scheme of things, but it is something that it's a special honor for those that get to be on the cover. And hell, I said cover, now it's like video games are going the way of digital like everything else. So
yeah,
being the cover athlete of a game anymore is not what it used to be, because there's not even really there aren't going to be many hard copies out there. But still, their faces are plastered all over the menus and all sorts of stuff like that. So if you are a novice baseball fan and you're not quite sure about who these players are, you're going to inevitably learn about who they are just from them being presented and splashed all over the marketing and whatnot. So good on MLB and Sony for going this route and having I thought it would be cool though if they would have done. I would have been okay with any of the 3 having being on the cover individually as well. Like that's. They picked such a great trio that I wouldn't have had an argument if any of the 3 of them were solo. Like when it was first announced, or it seemed like it was just going to be LA, I'm like, oh, that's a little bit surprising, because Cincinnati, and I know that there's more to them. But they've had Brewers on the cover, and they've had Joe Mauer in Minnesota on the cover. So baseball is a little bit. It can avoid the whole big market thing when it comes to having players on the cover. As long as the player in question is worthy of being on the cover accolades wise. So I think they nailed it. It's good stuff. So
yeah, completely agree. Well, speaking of the Cincinnati Reds, the Reds made a couple more moves. They've been
active.
I was going to say
week and a half, like super active.
Yeah, they finally got their outfielder. Might not be the one that we were all hoping for. But again, they bring in Austin Hayes on a 1-year, $5 million deal. And then just prior to that, there was talk that the Reds were deep in trade discussions with the Chicago White Sox for Luis Robert. Now, according to Jim Bowden, the asking for the White Sox were wanting Edwin Arroyo as one of the pieces to come back and another top prospect. So that's why the Reds stepped away from the trade talks there, and it didn't happen, and they ultimately pivoted to Austin Hayes. Now, this is a deal I really do like. I think Austin Hayes, former All-Star, he did struggle last year, but he did have a couple injuries that kept his season from really taking off. Now, if the Reds get the Austin Hayes from 2023, they're going to be in great shape. Austin Hayes had a great season. And then, like I said, ultimately next year or the following year in 2024, last year, he struggled. And it was the injuries, like I said, that sidetracked him. But I think this is a low-risk, high-reward move for the Cincinnati Reds. Austin Hayes has just an absolute cannon for an arm. So he's going to upgrade your defense out there. And if he can hit, he's good for, 20-plus home runs. It might even be close to 30 in Great American Ballpark. So there's the guy that they needed there to provide the stability in the outfield, who is going to, I think, consistently play out there game in and game out. You're going to have, either in left or right, depending on, what Terry Francona is thinking. Like I said, he's either going to be left or right field. I'm thinking he's probably going to be in left field. And then right field, you're going to have Jake Fraley, Stuart Fairchild, that platoon, I would say, of those two guys. You're going to have Gavin Lux out there in the outfield every now and then playing as well. So they got the guy that they needed to, like I said, stabilize the outfield moving forward for 2025. And I think it's a great move. I'm glad they did not go with Luis Robert, a guy who we've talked about it before. He seemingly just does not care as much. And I don't want to bring in a guy who doesn't seem to care into this clubhouse. We've got a bunch of guys who are, they're hungry. It's a solid baseball team. Now, granted, Terry Francona will probably light a fire under Luis Robert, but I don't want to take that chance. I'm fine with rolling forward with what they've got. But again, I think this is another instance where the Reds have taken a pretty solid step forward this offseason, and they weren't done because they go out and they trade for Taylor Rogers from the San Francisco Giants. That shores up their bullpen. They needed, more bullpen depth. Taylor Rogers brings that. So now you've got a lefty in Taylor Rogers. You got Sam Moll and Brent Suter there. Taylor Rogers can close if necessary, depending on what you do with Diaz. But again, I think Nick Krall has done a solid job this offseason. I know I've heard, different things, that they didn't go big on some moves, which there's one that I'm going to talk about here shortly. But again, a solid offseason for the Reds, and it was all started by the hiring of Terry Francona. And it's been since then, I think this team is going to, they're going to make a lot of waves in 2025. And I'm really happy to see what they've done so far. And it's definitely looking up this summer for the Reds.
Yeah, I'm just happy to see the Reds making some moves because, last year you bemoaned them. I gave them shit. They sat on their hands and they didn't do anything. And last year it was a prime year. In year two of all those young guys to kind of move some things around, spend some money, and get things moving towards contention a little bit quicker than maybe they had thought they would be. But it's nice to see that this offseason they are making those moves. And I'm with you. I'm not a huge Luis Robert guy. Numbers are fine when he's there, but he's rarely there. And he's hurt a lot. The effort has been in question in the past, and if they were asking for anything substantial, that's an easy call to pivot away from him. And honestly, let Chicago either die on that vine and end up having to trade him for peanuts on the dollar, or just waiting until he walks on free agency, because I don't know how you can ask for top billing for Luis Robert at this point in his career. But yeah, I do think that the Reds have made moves that they needed to make, and hopefully that they continue to make other moves, throughout the rest of the season and heading into the trade deadline, so that this team can continue to grow and show the promise that they showed a couple years ago as far as being able to contend for the division. Because I think they should have a pretty good year coming into this year. I think that the Central is open there for the taking for them.
Yeah, and they were just rumored, and again, it's all rumor, but with
rumor until this man signs with somebody, for God's sakes.
Yeah, and I mean with Pete Alonso, and this was a guy that at the beginning of the offseason when we had talked about it, I think it was our very first show, I had brought up Pete Alonso's name with the Reds. I think that is a perfect move to make, and I think you could get him right now. It's one of those situations, offer, a 3-year deal, $75-80 million, something like that. It's going to be the high annual value. Okay, fine. With opt-outs after, year 1 and year 2. Let him go bash and then hit the free agent market again. Because that's what he's going to do here. I mean, he's going to hit, the 700 home runs at Great American Ballpark. And I think if, the problem the Reds ran into was they had extended that qualifying offer to Nick Martinez. And Nick Martinez took it. I don't think the Reds were fully prepared for Nick Martinez to take it. And so I think that kind of threw off their offseason plans overall because, again, that move was not expected. And for $21 million, I like the move. I'm glad Nick Martinez did because he is very valuable, and he saved the Reds' ass many times last season. So, to me, it was beneficial. But that $21 million is coming off the books next year. So, if you can get Pete Alonso for another year, great. To me, make the move. You spend the money now. If you bring in Pete Alonso, the Reds are winning the Central. With what they've got on this team right now, they're winning the Central. I will go out there and I'll say it, unless the Cubs bring in Bregman or anything like that. But as it stands right now, if the Reds bring in Pete Alonso, they win the NL Central. So go for it. That's what you've got to do. You need a right-handed power bat in that lineup. And what better place to do it at first base with Pete Alonso? Like I said, he's going to hit a ton of home runs at Great American Ballpark. Make the move. It's totally worth it. Again, if it's for 1 year, it's for 1 year. Okay, fine. Let him hit the free agent market, and then, you split from there. But reap the benefits now with this team that is, like I said, young and hungry, and they're ready to move forward and really capture, a lot of hearts in this city. Because when the Reds are winning, this is a baseball town. There is no better town in this country for baseball than Cincinnati when they're rolling. That can happen this summer. It's just a matter of go out and make the move, Nick. You've done a good job so far. Now here's your chance to cap it off and hit another home run by bringing in Pete Alonso. Make the move. Make it happen.
Yeah, I don't think you get worse by adding a Pete Alonso. I don't know that it's slam dunk makes them favorites in the division. I do think that they would be right
just
there.
Let me have my fun.
No, that's fine. I'm just saying. I mean, ultimately, it's going to come down to pitching for them. Like, I don't think that the offense. Now, you had a Pete Alonso in the middle of that lineup, and again, it's not going to hurt him at all. I think he pushes for 50 home runs down at that bandbox, but it's a lot of money. I don't see.
No, it is.
I think that they're in the conversation maybe because Boris has tried to get other teams in the conversation and whatnot, which is fine. And I think it's cool idea to kind of play with. But I ultimately don't think that the Reds would be able to spend that money and justify it, despite what it would mean for the team in the short term.
See, that's what pisses me off is you spend money to make the money on that. And that's what drives me nuts about, some of these ownership groups is they won't spend the money, but then, we bitched about it before on this show. Like,
Yeah.
if you want to win, put your money down there and make it happen.
Yeah, and then I mean, Scott, going back to the Nick Martinez thing, pointed out there's a 0% chance that he would turn it down. Everybody knew he'd accept it. Most are surprised that they offered it, not that he took it. I mean, yeah, it was a gamble, but I mean, in defense of the Reds, I'm not saying that I would have made the same decision, but pitching has gotten crazy as far as like the prices and the amount of money that guys get. And you look at, the Braves paid Charlie Morton $20 million last year and he sucked. So, paying Nick Martinez $21 million isn't that insane. He pitched pretty well last year. He's pretty solid.
Oh, yeah.
They bailed the Reds out a few times last year. So, I'm sure they weren't thrilled that he took it, but I don't think that they sat up at night like cursing it either. Like I ultimately think that it was one of those things where they were like, "Hey, we'll be happy if he doesn't take it,
yes,
but we're not going to be disappointed if he does take it."
That's a great way to put it, because I think they were expecting him to get a multi-year deal somewhere else.
Right.
Then you get that compensation pick, boom. I think that's what they were leaning on.
Right.
But again, that is why they extended it, because you benefit both ways. Either he takes it, you get the comp pick, or, he takes it and you've got yourself another great pitcher for another year.
Right. And I mean, again, 21 million isn't crazy. It's not like with the franchise tag in football where you're paying this exorbitant amount based on the highest ends. It's like, yes, $21 million is a lot. And would he get $21 million a year on the open? But probably not. But also, it's not that far off. Like because it's a 1-year deal, when you look at it that way, it's like, $21 million. There's way worse deals out there than that. So,
yeah, I liked it. I mean, I love Nick Martinez. I'm glad he took it. Again, because it's going to benefit no matter what, whether he didn't accept it or whether he did. And we've got him back, and now we've got a lot of depth in this rotation. So the Reds are in a good spot. I really do think that they are, in terms of, pitching wise. I think they're there. They stay healthy. They're going to be there the entire season.
Yeah, and you talk about pitching, a couple more big name pitchers off the board. Max Scherzer signs in Toronto, and Jack Flaherty finally getting inked this offseason after kind of sitting around, and people thought he would have been signed by now, but he ends up back in Detroit, where he had signed last year before they traded him to the Dodgers, and he won that World Series with them. But he goes back to Detroit on a 2-year deal. And Scherzer ending up in Toronto along with Santander. Toronto making moves that, a few weeks ago we talked about them sitting on their hands and not quite doing anything, and still kind of in the hunt for Pete Alonso. But they've made moves enough that Toronto isn't so embarrassing this offseason, I guess you could say. Like they look more competent than they did just a month ago this time. That's for sure.
Well, it wasn't real hard. Let's put it that way. The Scherzer one, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's a depth move there. If you get good Max, then they're going to benefit from it. With Santander, I mean, he'll be a solid outfield addition, solid piece of that lineup. But what it comes down to is you've got to sign Vladdy, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's Vladdy is where it's at, and they've. That's the move you got to make. So they got to figure out how to, bridge that gap in between each other here and get it figured out, because otherwise, all these moves are all for naught if you lose Vladimir Guerrero Jr. So, yeah, I mean, Toronto, glad to see they're making moves, but some of the ones it's, kind of questioning a little bit. I mean, I've heard they're in on Bregman as well. That'd be great, but I mean, they need another piece in that lineup really to put in there with with Vladdy and Santander and everyone else. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. I mean, as we inch closer to spring training, which is what, 2 weeks away.
We're less than 2 weeks away, because next week is when pitchers start showing up for and then the first full squad workouts are the following week. So we're about 2 weeks away from full squad workouts. So Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
whatever, you know, guys out there who still don't have a home and still are looking for that. I was looking at the free agent list earlier this evening just to go back and look through and see if there was anybody that was that we had missed on. And you know, quite a few names that I was surprised that are still out there. Not anybody that's earth shattering, but guys that will end up playing contributing roles on teams that win for sure.
I don't understand why these guys don't sign earlier. You know, because you want to be prepared going into camp. You know, like
yeah, I mean, I think looking at a lot of them, I think it was guys who, you know, they figure they can make more money if they wait until these guys start showing up and they get there and get hurt. And then you've got leverage because teams get desperate, and then you get a better shot at signing with, like, you waited this long. Well, might as well wait for something to happen where you get a starting spot or something along those lines that you feel more comfortable with, or on a team that gets desperate. I mean,
yeah.
If you're sitting out there as a starting pitcher and one of these contending teams loses a guy, which it happens every year, somebody goes down, some big name player or some player expected to contribute a lot, you know, to a certain team, goes down, and the next thing you know, these guys off the street come in and I mean, Blake Snell didn't sign last year until after spring training had started and whatnot, you know, derailed the start of his season, but hey, he ended up with a whole bunch of money on the back end. So they probably figure it can work out. The last thing that I want to go. Oh, and I should mention real quick before we get off of those, but the Braves finally did something and signed Jurickson Profar. Cool. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. One of those signings that if Jurickson Profar, I don't have anything against Jurickson Profar, but if Jurickson Profar had signed at the beginning of December, I'm like, all right, Jurickson Profar, off season's getting off to a great start. Jurickson Profar in January was like, that's it. That's the move. Surely there's something else going to happen with Jurickson Profar, right? Like that's not it, right? That's not the only thing they're going to do. I sure hope not. That's how I feel about Jurickson Profar. Fine enough signing, but just very. I equated it to getting socks for Christmas. I know they're necessary, but there's nothing sexy about them. Nothing sexy about them.
That is one hell of an analogy. One hell of an analogy.
Bad news though coming out of baseball today. Before we get to the interview, one of the umpires was he let go? He was fired. I saw that he can apply for reinstatement, but what was his name? Because I almost called him
Pat Hoberg.
I almost called him Fred Hoberg, and I'm like, no, that's the basketball ref. Pat Hoberg was let go by Major League Baseball. Story came out that he was suspended about this time last year. It was detected that he had a gambling account opened up in his name. And the account had baseball being gambled on it. Now, after an investigation by Major League Baseball, turns out that there was no proof or any evidence that he was the one who gambled on baseball. He says that he let his friend use the account, and there's no wrongdoing on his part. He can apply for reinstatement. But the whole thing smells fishy, and this coming a year after he dealt with all the Shohei stuff and gambling and folks using different accounts and all that. And there were some deleted text messages that happened during the investigation and just a whole big old mess. It smells fishy, and there's all sorts of smoke here. So I tend to believe that even though they didn't find any evidence of gambling on baseball, that the man gambled on baseball, because I don't buy all the excuses, and there would be no need to furiously delete text messages if you were worried about them being part of an investigation. So yeah, whatever's
you did nothing wrong,
right? He accepted responsibility. You know, says he understands that he made a mistake and that he never compromised the game, never bet on baseball, blah blah blah. But we've heard this before. So It's time for Robo-Umps, right, Chris? It's time for Robo-Umps.
Nope. Screw them.
I don't believe we've ever had this conversation on the show, and I don't think people know our feelings, but I am very pro bring on our robot overlords and have them umpire in baseball. The sooner the better. we get these balls and strikes called. And Chris is very pro old school, keep the human element and keep screwing up calls and blowing calls and, you know, having the integrity of the game question because guys are gambling. So yeah, Chris, you're wrong. And this is just another reason that we need robo-umps. Defend your position, my man. Defend your position.
I don't want to.
Oh yeah, you got nothing on this one.
No,
I mean, I do think that it's past time that we have the robotic umps for balls and strikes. I got no problem with umps at the bases and on the field and all that stuff, but for balls and strikes, I'm done. I am over umpires blowing calls. And I know that in Hoberg's case, he was one of the better umpires, which is what makes it kind of annoying, is that he was the best balls and strike guys that baseball had, just numbers wise. And they keep all the statistics and the stats on how well umpires do during games. And he was the best. And yet now he's gone out of the game because of something along these lines.
Now, what if guys like CB Buckner and Angel Hernandez were not even remotely part of, and you didn't have those outliers of absolute dog crap umpires making calls? Would you be off? Because outside of those two, you don't have a problem. You see what I'm saying? Like, would you be fine with leaving it as is?
I just think
CB Buckner's awful, and obviously we know Angel Hernandez is about as bad as you're going to get. Those two taint this all, and that's the problem.
Sure. No, I know that there's some that are worse at it than others, but in general, if you have the technology like this, and again, I mean, assuming that the technology is all the way up to snuff, it makes no sense to do it if there's any way, shape, or form that it could be wrong or it's not ready, you know, for prime time, whatever it may be. But if you have the technology to get the calls right, then I want to use it, because even the best umpire can have a bad day or can miss a call at a crucial moment or whatever. And presuming that these, you know, the technology is where it's supposed to be and accurate, computer's never wrong. So why have the technology and not use it? Like, it's like in football. It drives me nuts that there's all sorts of rules and stipulations and timings and all that on replays and being able to overturn calls. No, bullshit. If a call is wrong and we have the technology and we can all see it in basically real time, but the guys down on the field aren't allowed to use it, or, you know, it's not a certain situation, whatever, I think that's ridiculous. I want the calls right. And there's too much money tied up in these games now, especially with gambling. Mr. Hoberg, he knows all about that. He knows how much money is tied up in the game. So if you're going to have gambling and all the money and everything tied up and I mean, you know, we got questions about whether or not the referees are in bed with the Chiefs. You know how you eliminate those questions? You use every technology available. And baseball needs to have robot umps the minute that they're ready for use.
Okay, there we go.
I'm interested in hearing anything that you got to say that is, you know, anti that. Like, I mean, if you can argue those points, fine, but I just don't see why you have it and don't use it.
I mean, I'm fine with the challenge system on it. I mean, like, but
you got to open up the challenge system if you're going to do it. Like, there's so many times that it'll be like, oh, he was safe on that play, but guess what? It's non-challengeable because X, Y, and Z. Well, why can't we challenge it? We're all sitting at home watching the blown call.
I get it. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I do like the human element of it, and it's because watching a pitcher work, you
like to get irrationally angry at a grown man behind home plate for blowing a call.
Yeah. There you go. We're not gonna, we're not going to see eye to eye on this ever. So, I mean, screw it at this point. Hell.
Yeah, I did just run circles around you in that debate, but that's fine.
It is what it is.
So, Chris, all for the screwed up human element and me for a brighter future in baseball. Now,
I'm just all for getting rid of the umpires that aren't worth a shit. That's my thing.
Well, yeah, and I mean that's
because
well
I mean,
that too.
I mean, here's the thing: like guys, like I said, CB Buckner and Angel Hernandez, those two, I'm like, hell yeah, we'll go robot umps. But there's other guys that make it great, and that's what like I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet.
Well, I think we'll get there when this coming season, Reds, Cards, division title on the line, trip to the playoffs, win or go home, and the ump blows a call and the Reds have to go home. I bet you'll be screaming for the robot umps then.
Depends on what kind of call it is. If it's a fastball right down the dick that's a ball, then I'll be pissed. Yeah. But it is what it is, man. Like, I mean, shit happens, dude.
Before this show is over, I will have you know that you will be on the side of the right side of history. You will be defending the robot overlord umpires. They're coming, and there's nothing.
Oh, they're coming. There's not a damn thing I can do about it. I know that. I know that for a fact. But it is. I'm just not there yet, man. I'm not. I mean,
fair enough.
Sorry.
Fair enough.
What it is, man.
Alrighty, well, do you have anything else, or should we go on ahead and give the people what they came for and then give them this interview?
Let's do it.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, our interview with the one and only Carter Shouse. Again, we appreciate Carter for sitting down at this interview, and this is going to wrap up the show for us. So we thank you guys for tuning in to Backwards K, and we will catch you guys next week, but enjoy the interview.
Everyone, thank you very much to this special episode of the Backwards K Baseball Podcast. I am Chris Asbrock, and I'm joined by my co-host, Scott Kaiser. But in this little section here, we have a special guest, the number 2 player in the 2028 class, rated by Perfect Game, and he's a local baseball product from Middletown, goes to Bishop Fenwick High School, Carter Shouse. Carter, my man, thank you so much for joining us, and how are you doing today?
No problem. I'm doing pretty good today. I just got done with some hitting and throwing, arm care.
There we go. There we go. That's good, man. You always got to take care of yourself and keep the training going.
Oh, yeah.
So just kind of, just some, fun, things here. What's your favorite major league team and growing up and now in terms of player-wise as well?
I'd say now my favorite team's the Phillies. I'm a big Bryce Harper guy. I love the energy he brings to the game. And then I'm also a big Trey Turner guy. Love those two playing together. And then obviously Schwarber. He's from around here. Little Schwarbomb action here and there. Love seeing that guy. And then obviously just I fell in love with Bryce Harper when I was little when he was with the Nationals. But I feel like he just brings the energy to the table, which I love doing for my team and my teammates. But I definitely say those 3 guys, and the Phillies are my.
Yeah, it's a hell of a grouping right there, man. There's just some studs. One of Scott's favorite teams, if you've checked out our show before, Scott's a huge Braves guy, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all right with the Phillies that you named, though, because those are the ones that I actually really like too. Seeing a lot of them in the NL East for their most of their careers. I unfortunately cannot hate Bryce Harper, unlike most of Braves country. I love the way he plays the game. So the fact that you emulate your game after him, that's a good one to emulate. As long as you didn't say a Yankee or a Met, we were going to be all right.
That's true. Yeah, there would be definitely no love lost there. All right, man. So another one. What player, have you, wish you have gotten a chance to see, play that, that is long retired or anything like that?
I really wish I would have gotten to see Derek Jeter play.
Oh.
I'm a little too young for that, but I really wish I was there for when he was still playing. And I obviously just watching his highlights and everything, and his last walk-off and his last at-bat, I wish I was there to see that. I mean, he was something else. I mean, from where he came from to where he ended his career was pretty crazy.
Yeah, he did have an incredible career. That's you're definitely not wrong there. The good old captain, I know. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty legendary. We'll go with that. We will go with that. Scott, you got anything there?
Yeah, outside of your favorite team there, what team would you most like to play for if you could pick where you got drafted? Where would it be?
That's a that's a tough one.
No pressure.
I mean, I've always like ever since I've been a Phillies fan, I've always wanted to play for them. I've loved their fan base. I mean, they brought Bryson Stott back from being, he was not hitting very well, and then a game later he's hitting, doing his thing again. I mean, that fan base, those players, I'd love to play for them, and then obviously I'd love to stay close to home and play for the Reds, but
yeah, that'd be sick, man. That'd be sick. So you're a pitcher and center fielder mainly. You do play some first base. In terms of pitching, what is your favorite aspect about pitching?
I mean, I'd say now, since I've been growing older, I've been able to, overpower hitters, and I'd say just being able to be up there and be confident and know that I have my, my 4 pitches to just, I guess, annihilate somebody or just like go through the order and do my thing is just like, I feel like for me, it's very comforting not to have to like every outing have to freak out and worry about and do something that's like out of my norm, and just be able to relax and have a good outing every single time I go out there and not have to worry about anything extra.
There we go.
So what do you enjoy more, striking a guy out or throwing a guy out from the outfield?
Oh. I feel like strikeouts have become kind of a norm for me. Not trying to just say that I strike everybody out, but I feel like it's become kind of a norm. So I feel like throwing a guy out from the outfield is pretty dang cool.
Yeah, dude, there's no better feeling. I played center field, man. It is.
Oh yeah,
it's awesome, man. There's just that feeling, just someone's challenging you, and you just freaking throw a laser in there, and it's awesome.
Yeah,
it's awesome, man. So far, what's your best experience in baseball so far?
Without a doubt, we're playing for USA. That was, without a doubt, that's my best experience. The four coaches that I had from training camp, and then getting to work with them throughout that, and then the 2 weeks we had with them, just the bond that I built with those coaches and those players, and then being able to bond with them every day, my roommate, Jordan Kurz, and then, I mean, just the whole atmosphere, playing with my best friends, Jared Grinlinger, who you probably know, and then the whole experience was just insane that I never thought I'd be able to have until I was older. Even then, I wasn't sure that I'd be able to do it, but just having it now, like a few months ago, was absurd.
Yeah, that was going to be actually a question I was going to ask you later on, but the fact you played for USA Baseball, what does that mean, or what did that mean for you to have that USA across your chest, man? Because that's awesome. I mean, that's pretty special.
So obviously, like the first time you ever wear something, it's just a little USA practice jersey. But then that first game you have when you put on a jersey and it has USA across your chest, it's an unreal feeling that you'll never feel again. Like it's insane. And then obviously we played on 9/11, and I pitched that day. And obviously that was a really emotional day for all of us. And be able to play that day, pitch that day, and come out with a win was really big for us too.
Wow. That's awesome, man. That is really cool. Yeah. Just like I said, I mean, I see you're wearing the USA shirt as well. That's that's cool, man. That's just an unbelievable, proud moment it's got to be for you just to have that. That's cool, man. Really, really cool. Congrats on that.
And those who don't know, you also you play basketball too, right?
Yes, I do.
Can you tell us a little bit about your basketball playing? What positions do you play, and what's your favorite thing about being on the court?
I'd say I'm a forward / shoot small forward, and then I'd say I can shoot the ball, but I can get downhill and take it to the rack too. And then I'd say either just overpowering somebody, taking the ball to the rack, or taking a charge on out of control guys and getting the crowd into it, and flexing on somebody and you're getting back on defense, you block your shot and you go down and hit a little and one on them. That's get you going for sure.
I love it, man. I love it. So
do you play any other sports besides basketball?
I played baseball, football, and basketball until I was in 7th grade.
Okay.
And then everything started to translate. I was like starting to kind of get looked at like going into my 8th grade summer, my summer going into 8th grade. And I was like, I'm not sure if I want to take the risk in football anymore because I need to focus on, hitting the weight room and, getting stronger, and then also focusing on basketball at the same time because that's, also something that I love. Not that I miss football like anything. Like I miss football. I wish I could still play, but I wouldn't have been able to play for USA if I played football. And most of my big opportunities can come in the fall, and I wouldn't want to play football, screw my team for something else, leave them behind, but also at the same time I have to worry about my future. And obviously those big opportunities will come in the fall.
What position do you play in football?
I was a quarterback and a linebacker.
Oh man. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's two completely different there. I like that. I like that.
Leaders on
I
both
was a
sides.
quarterback that wanted to knock somebody's head off. So
see, there you go. You run that ball, you lower that shoulder, man, just truck somebody. Yeah, it's a great feeling. So you're an intense dude, man. Like, okay. So question that comes with that, do you hate to lose more or do you love to win more?
I'd say I'd hate to lose more. Like I love winning, but I cannot stand losing. Like
Thank you. That's how I am, man. I hate it. I mean, winning's great, but man, losing, it's just, I don't know. There's that defeat factor to it.
Winning's like, hey, you get to enjoy it for 5 minutes, but then like when you lose, it's going to stick with you for the rest of the night and the rest of the week. Like, I can't stand it.
See, there we go. That's okay. To me, that's a true competitor right there. Like, to me, a true competitor, they just hate to lose. Like, that's what it comes down to. So they're going to do everything they can to make sure that they don't lose.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. I like that.
So what about some of your other sports like playing basketball and football and whatnot? What kind of helps translate onto the on the baseball diamond? Like what skills can you use on both of them that you're kind of like, oh man, we do this a lot in basketball, but it really helps me in baseball?
I'd say football really helped me with the mental side of things, because when I was younger, I wasn't mental in a bad way, but like I was mental, like if I got out or something like that, I would always get really mad. But then I feel like with football, I took a lot of defeats, and I was like, I have to keep my cool and keep my composure and still keep playing well. And I feel like that's definitely translated over to baseball, because I'm not going to have my best game or my best outing every game. I'm going to have to keep my cool and, see what went wrong, and then come back out the next day or my next outing and compete and, actually play good that day. And then I feel like with basketball, I feel like conditioning side of things and the speed things have helped me with that. But also I feel like my competitiveness in basketball is like second to none with anything. Like I will do anything to win a basketball game, but also like my competitiveness in baseball is like insane too. But I feel like with basketball, just like all like the, running and stuff we do, it's really helped me stay conditioned, and also like my speed has helped me in basketball translate to baseball also.
Okay. So basketball season's it should be wrapping up here pretty soon, shouldn't it?
Yeah. So we have 5 games left, and the tournament draws on the 22nd.
Okay. And then once that's done, man, you're going to be right into high school ball then.
Yes, sir.
Crazy. Yeah. It gets rolling quick, man.
Oh yeah.
Gets rolling quick. During baseball season, what's a typical day look like for you?
Ooh. So, depending on what day it is, I'll wake up, 8:30. So I'll ask you this, like game day or an off day?
Whatever. We'll do game day first, and then you can do off day.
All right, so we're game day. So, obviously, I'm a national level baseball player, so I'm never home. So, at all.
True.
So I'll wake up, go down, have some breakfast in the hotel lobby, get some eggs, get some sausage, maybe a bagel for some carbs, and then go back up. Depending on what time my game is, let's say I have I don't know, 8. Let's say I play 8 at night. I'll go up. I'll do some stretching. Just hang out with my mom and dad, and then my team my hit dogs team, we love playing cards in our off time. Like we'll play euchre for hours. So we'll go grab lunch as a team, then we'll come back and play some euchre or whatever card game we want to play that day, and then I'll probably go hop in the hot tub, just get my muscles relaxed, and then I'll probably go up around 2 or 3, take a little nap, and then we'll go grab a bite to eat, and then I'll throw my headphones on and I get locked in before we start warming up, and then from there on out it's just me versus that other team. You're not going to win this game, so
there you go.
Well, that leads us right into the perfect next question, because we got to know what's on your playlist, man. How do you get hyped up for a game?
Oh.
Like what are the kids listening to get fired up?
So, if we're listening to it as a team, it's just like, we're like, hey, what do you want on Ox? What do you want on Ox? So we're just like, just typing in some random song, But for me, I'll have a little bit of rap mixed in there, a little bit of country. I'll throw on some Luke Combs or some Morgan Wallen, and then I'll have some Lil Baby or some Gunna in there, and I don't know. Those 4 artists right there just get me in the zone, man. I mean, I don't know what it is with those 4 guys, but I mean,
do you guys have a designated team DJ or no?
It varies. It varies.
Okay.
It varies.
Yeah, because some guys lose that privilege, man. If that music isn't hit, man, you can lose that privilege pretty quick. Okay.
Do you guys get to pick up your walk-up song at this age?
High school, yeah. We don't do it for summer ball, but high school, yeah.
Okay. So what's your walk-up music?
I think I'm gonna go with some Billy Squier.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
I like it.
I fell in love with it when Billy Amick started doing it, and Tennessee fans started clapping every time he went up to the plate. So I was like, why don't I do that? So
that's awesome.
I think we're going with some Billy Squier.
Okay. All right.
Oh yeah.
I like that. So what you were talking about Billy Amick in Tennessee. What, you follow any college programs? Or, I mean, do you have any time to? I mean, obviously you're super busy, but man.
Oh, do I follow college baseball?
Yes. Good.
I am all over college baseball, man.
It's the best, man. It is the best.
Love it.
What team do you like the most?
Tennessee.
Okay.
I don't have anything over here with me, but I'm a Tennessee geek, dude. I like Coach Vitello.
I'll say Vitello's the best, man.
That is my favorite person in this entire world. I love Vitello. And then, Christian Moore is probably my favorite player, honestly.
Okay.
MLB college, even though he's in the minors, he's my favorite player. And then, you got Blake Burke, who's just going to hit the ball 600 feet. And then, Billy Amick, he can hit the ball wherever he wants to. And then you got Hunter Ensley out there who's just going to, jump over the catcher and get you your winning run. So,
yeah, they were fun, man. They were so fun to watch in the CWS last year. It was awesome.
Oh, yeah, man.
I tell you what, man, there was, you're talking about Tony Vitello. I think when he first started at Tennessee, there was something about him I was I didn't like. I don't know what it was, but I was like, man, this guy just ain't it for me. And then as it continued to progress, I was like, okay, this guy's legit. He's awesome. He's just a good dude. Players love him. So I mean, he's that kind of coach that anybody would want. So
yeah. And then those days, I mean, dude, those days of Drew Gilbert and Jordan Beck. I mean, I was the biggest Drew Gilbert person you would ever meet in your life. I mean, everybody hated it for me because everybody thought he was just some arrogant, cocky guy. But me, I was that's who I want to be when I grow up.
You gotta have a swagger to you, man. Because I think that adds a lot to it. I mean, as long as you're not overly cocky, but you gotta be confident in your game.
100%.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I'm with you. So you've skyrocketed up the ranking boards for the 2028 class. So you're sitting right now, according to Perfect Game, at number 2. What opportunities, showcases, etc., have you used to take advantage of that to continue to progress up the boards and obviously, you know, better your numbers moving forward?
So with PG, it was definitely my first, like the showcase that I did to skyrocket my stuff to number 7, first PG showcase I'd ever done.
Okay.
So that indoor was like a, you know, great experience for me. And then that got me up to 7. So then I started, you know, I was getting these showcase invites left and right. And then I got the national showcase invite, which that was July, something like that. And then that helped me. That was obviously like the biggest showcase of the year. That definitely helped me, you know, progress my numbers. And then for PBR, I'm going to the pro case in 2 weeks, which that will definitely be a big one for me to be able to update my numbers and get my name. Obviously, it's out, but get my name out even more.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, more exposure, the better, man. That's just how it is.
100%.
So, like, in looking at your latest numbers, well, last I was able to find, looks like the majority of them are here from July 26. So you had fastball velo of 89. You ran a 60 and 7.1. That's not too bad. A lot faster than me. Outfield velo of 93. Exit velo 91. So, like, in terms of, like, you know, those numbers there, you know, you see your numbers after an event. And knowing what those are, you've got a benchmark, you know, heading into the summer, whenever that showcase is. You know, you have a lot of showcases now where, you know, where people are getting stuff out here in the spring and everything like that moving forward. Does that change your training, like in terms of like mentality, or you just still want to crush every aspect of it?
You know, I think I still want to like focus on everything, but if there's one number that I'm not happy with, I'll focus on that one a little bit more. But I'm not going to drop everything else and just focus on one thing. I'll still work on everything, but focus on that one little thing a little bit more than I was.
Okay. What numbers like right now that you look at, you know, you see that from, you know, from the last PG event? Is there anything that's like sticking out? Like, man, damn, I want to do better than that.
My 60, obviously it wasn't bad. I was hoping for a sub 7, but you know, 7-1 isn't terrible. 710 isn't terrible, but yeah. That exit velo is sticking out like a sore thumb. I mean, that's atrocious. Like, dude, that ain't gonna cut it. And you know, I've been working on it lately. I think my highest has been like 98 or something like that. So, you know, that's definitely been one of the things that I've, you know, worked on. So
yeah. You said you got another one in a couple weeks?
Yeah, it's the 15th.
Okay. So yeah, there you go. I mean, that, you know, you've got a benchmark right now, man. Of what?
Obviously the X velo for PG's off the tee, but
yeah.
And then I don't know what PBR is, but
do you consistently compare yourself to others? Like, do you have that drive? Because I know, like I said, you're a gamer, man.
I'd say sometimes I can like compare myself to others, but I mean, I feel like I'm at the stage in my, you know, career now that I just need to focus on myself. And then if I need to, I'll compare myself to like not somebody my age, but somebody older than me. Like, you know, now I'd compare myself to like a Grady Emerson or like somebody like that. I'm not going to like compare myself to somebody in like my age.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, what part of your game do you think you need to work on the most besides, you know, the exit velo? I know you said that sticks out, but what aspect of your game would you say, like, I could really get better at this?
Ooh. Man, that's tough. I'd probably say the speed side of things. I mean, everybody, like, they're like, oh, dude, you're pretty fast. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like kind of fast. But then when I watch myself, I look like I'm running in the wind. Like, I feel like I'm not even that fast. And I feel like, you know, to take that next step, that'll be one of the big things is, you know, getting faster. But I think that's the biggest thing.
Do you like pitching or playing center field more?
Dude, people ask me this all the time, and I can never answer it. Like, I just hit and threw like an hour ago, and I'm like, you know, just throwing fuzzballs down there, and I'm just like, dude, this is so fun. But then, you know, when I get in the center field and I go and make a diving play, it's like, dude, this is the best thing ever. Like,
yeah,
I if I can play it two-way for the rest of my life, I'm going to do it. Like, I don't know what, like, I can't tell you what I love more.
Do you think, okay, I mean, obviously, you know, you're younger now. Do you think that's an aspect of baseball that, you know, should change a little more to where you have more of it?
Yeah, I think. Yeah,
I agree, man. Because you know, one of the things that, you know, we talk about on the show is, you know, Paul Skeens. Like I followed Skeens when he was at Air Force. That dude was a freak.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
look at DH. Man.
Yeah, look at Jack Caglione now.
Yes, like, Jackie Cags, man. That dude.
Yes, dude, he's throwing 99 and hitting 500-foot bombs. Like Cags is a dog, and he's a lefty.
Yes, exactly. You've got that, and you have like Michael Lorenzen from back when he was at Fullerton. Like guys like that. I think it's such a valuable, you know, piece of the game. And it's, you know, if you can bring in, and that's why I advocated so hard for the Reds to bring in Jack Caglione, because you're getting two different guys. You're getting a stud hitter and a lefty that can absolutely bring the heat.
Yeah.
Like, to me, go for it. And it's like, you know, you see some of these guys, it's to me, it's totally worth it. And I've always wondered from somebody who could play, you know, both ways, you know, would you like to advocate for that more?
Oh, yeah, 100%. But, I mean, speaking on the Reds pick, Chase Burns wasn't a bad pick either.
No. You know, that was the thing going into it. We were talking about, you know, I was like, man, the first, like, 4 or 5 picks, you could not go wrong at all.
Yeah. I mean, Chase Burns has been one of my favorite pitchers for the last 3 years. The energy, I feel like sometimes when you probably haven't even seen me pitch yet, but, like, when I come off the mound, I feel like Chase Burns. I'm jacked up. I'm like screaming, like, come on, like, give me that. Like, I'm jacked up. Like, you would have thought I just like drank 4 energy drinks. Like, striking somebody out, like, at the end of an inning gets me going. Like, it's crazy.
So do you like, okay, pitching wise, do you like just blowing it by somebody, or like, you know, breaking one off in them and then they just, you know, they corkscrew themselves?
I mean, you know, I love blowing it by somebody, but I also like making them look stupid, you know, just throw them a little backdoor slider and they just fall on their face and swing. I love doing that. I feel like just overpowering them is kind of fun too.
It is that, because that, to me, that's a mono thing. Like, all right, touch this, and then bam, zipping it by them. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
What is in your pitching repertoire? What all do you throw?
I got a fastball, changeup, slider, and a curveball, and then I'm trying to work on a cutter right now. I just can never seem to get the feel for it, because if I throw it right, it's super good, but then if I throw it wrong, it's like the same thing as my slider, which I like, you know, like just threw, and I'm trying to like do something else. It looks too much like it, so I'm like, I don't know how to, but
okay. Yeah, that could be. Yeah, I can see how that could be a problem. You know, once you get that grip, though, man, it's like, I mean, it just adds another weapon to you. I like that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So this area, man, this area is a hotbed for high school baseball. We've got, you know, just, you know, some stud teams around here. It doesn't seem to get the national recognition, though, that other areas do. Obviously, you know, you've got Florida, Georgia, you know, you name it, California, Texas, you know, everywhere. But you being the, you know, as highly ranked as you are, do you feel a sense of pride carrying a flag for Cincinnati or in local baseball, you know, when you go around nationally?
Oh, 100%. Like, you know, kids will always, you know, you got all these memes out here about Ohio, and they're just like, you know, saying all this, and then they're like, hey, you're from Ohio, you're like a Midwest guy, you're a cold weather state guy. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, how do you get it done? And it's just kind of cool to just hear that, and just like, you know, I can get it done and still, you know, be on this national level. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, because I mean, you saw like last year. I mean, Jake Hanley from Mason tore it up at the Super 60. He's in Indiana now. You know, you got guys like Matt Ponatowski, who, you know, is at Moeller, Zion Theophilus. I mean, there's some dudes in this area, man.
Yeah,
and that's just, you know, I just named just 2 programs, but you've got, you know, you got Baden, obviously yourself at Fenwick. Yeah. You know, you got East. So many programs here, man, that it seems like I said, the respect factor just isn't there, because, again, like you said, we're a cold weather Midwestern state.
100%.
Come on, man. You know, we produce, you know, ball players too, man. It's just, you know, give us that respect.
Exactly. 100%.
There you go. That's where it's on you, man. Continue to show out, man.
Yeah, man. Continue to do your thing. We appreciate you coming on and doing the show with us, man. Thanks a lot.
100%. Anytime.
Yeah, that's awesome. We'll have to we'll have to get out and check out a game, man.
Oh yeah,
cool to see you in action. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, again, man, truly appreciate you. This was awesome.
100%.
There you go.
Thanks a lot, Carter.
Yeah,
no
thanks,
problem.
Carter. Appreciate it. Have yourself a good one, my man.
You too.
Take care and best of luck.